Hello lovely people, it's so lovely to see you all again, and it's exciting because we have got the next part of the Magic Finger to read. I'm so excited, it's one of my favourites. Okay, so let's see what happens next. They all looked down, and there below them in their own garden they saw 4 enormous wild ducks. The ducks were as big as men. And what is more, they had great long arms, like men instead of wings. The ducks were walking in a line to the door of the Greg's house, swinging their arms and holding their beaks high in the air. "Stop!" called the tiny Mr. Greg, flying down low over their heads. "Go away, that's my house!" The ducks looked up and quacked. The first one put out a hand and opened the door of the house and went in. The others went in after him and the door shut. The Gregs flew down and sat on the wall near the door. Mrs. Greg began to cry. "Oh dear, dear," she sobbed. "They have taken our house. What shall we do? We have no place to go." Even the boys began to cry a bit now. "We will be eaten by cats and foxes in the night," said Philip. "I want to sleep in my own bed," said William. "Now then," said Mr. Greg, "it isn't any good crying. That won't help us. Shall I tell you what we are going to do?" "What?" they said. Mr. Greg looked at them and smiled. "We are going to build a nest." "A nest?" they said. "Can we do that?" "We must do it," said Mr. Greg. "We've got to have somewhere to sleep. Follow me." They flew off to a tall tree, and right at the top of it Mr. Greg chose the place for the nest. There's the picture. "Now we want sticks," he said. "Lots and lots of little sticks. Off you go, all of you, and find them and bring them back to me." "But we have no hands," said Philip. "Use your mouths." Mrs. Greg and the children flew off. Soon they were back carrying sticks in their mouths. Mr. Greg took the sticks and started to build a nest. "More," he said. "I want more and more and more sticks. Keep going." The nest began to grow. Mr. Greg was very good at making the sticks stick together. There he is, look, making his nest. After a while, he said, "That's enough sticks. Now I want leaves and feathers, please, and things like that to make the inside nice and soft." The building of the nest went on and on. It took a long time, but at last it was finished. "Try it," said Mr. Greg, hopping back. He was very pleased with his work. "Oh, isn't it lovely?" cried Mrs. Greg, going into it and sitting down. "I feel I might lay an egg any moment." The others all got in beside her. "How warm is it?" said William. "And what fun to be living up so high," said Philip. "We may be small, but nobody can hurt us up here." "But what about food?" said Mrs. Greg. "We haven't had anything to eat all day." "That's right," Mr. Greg said. "So we will now fly back to the house and go in by the open window and get the tin of biscuits when the ducks aren't looking." "Oh, we will be pecked to bits by those dirty great ducks," cried Mrs. Greg. "We shall be careful, my love," said Mr. Greg, and off they went. But when they got to the house, they found all the windows and doors closed. There was no way in. I'm going to leave it there. Suspense, suspense, suspense. You'll have to wait and find out what happens next. Tune in with the next episodes. Lovely to speak to you all.